Do we have questions in the audience? I suspect we do. So put up your hand, and Mark is strolling through the audience. And
so my public confession to the panel is my ears shot up when Ms. Harris said she still works in recruiting, because I'm an undergraduate student at a campus sort of swarmed by recruiters every fall and spring. And so my question had to do with, I mean, there's been a lot of talk. I think somebody asked earlier, how do you replace people who might, not be very ethical. And in recent years, it seems like, at least on the undergraduate recruiting level, which you briefly mentioned, there's been more people are being recruited who aren't economics majors, who are humanities majors, who are English majors, political science majors, which works in my favor, and and other sort of non-economics, non-math related fields. Does the panel, or particularly Ms. Harris, think that is at all related to an ethical change in which it's not only a strong sort of fire in your belly for numbers being considered anymore, but sort of people from the humane sort of letters fields coming in who might have a different perspective to bring on consulting or finance or any of those fields as well?
Also, I'm sorry, what's your name?
John, our two names.
Can we put John's resume up on the screen?
Actually, that'd be great.
And again, I don't want to be self-serving in any way, but that's certainly something that has always been our focus as a firm, and there are other firms like us as well. And one of the things I would always say to prospective analyst candidates is that you don't have to major in economics, you don't have to major in finance, you don't have to major in accounting, because we hire humanities majors, English majors, women's studies majors, art majors, because we're looking for someone who can think, someone who has good analytical skills, which is different from your quantitative skills, obviously. We can teach you finance, we can teach you how to model, but we're looking for someone who, again, is interested in learning and has that tenacity and can really, show that they have initiative, and we can teach you the rest. So I can't really say that I think people are sort of shifting now broadly, because again, I can't speak to other firms' individual lenses when they were looking for analysts, but we've always had a focus on the liberal arts major, because that's, at the margin, we think where the bias is in terms of great thinkers.
My question has to do with two elements of focus with the culture of Wall Street. One being almost a nature versus nurture problem. I know we've talked about the culture of Wall Street as being, I think the underlying assumption of much of this discussion is that the culture underlines and to a great degree determines the ethical activity of the people involved. And I was wondering whether anyone on the panel had an opinion as to whether the problems with behavior in the financial industry among professionals, among service providers, among fiduciaries, has to do with both the culture on the street and the underlying educational systems that produce individuals who are particularly susceptible to that kind of pressure, whether it's one or the other or both, or whether there's any balance there, and whether the educational undergirding and the focus of the formation of these people before they enter the finance profession in a more substantial way plays a role in this. The second question has to do with the whole concept of ethics and compliance in finance. Being more of a humanities focus myself in academia and now in financial services, I was always struck by the almost incongruity of focus between what we would describe as morality and what is commonly described as ethics or compliance. The idea being that stealing from your clients or lying to your clients or trading on insider information, the general public would generally view this as immoral. These are wrong things. Whereas there was often a perception in the financial services industry that these were merely unethical. And the word unethical had almost a lighter or less severe tone to it than immoral. And there was a sense that ethics is the kind of thing that a good person who's trying to do the right thing can easily get wrong. Whereas morality is something that we don't like to talk about, and it doesn't really come in unless we're talking about Madoff. So I was wondering whether you see the culture of, quote, ethics and, quote, compliance as focusing on extraordinary levels of detail on trivial issues and treating those with not necessarily the same gravity, but painting them with the same brush as fundamental moral issues like lying, cheating, and stealing, whether that's a dysfunctional element that is changing or remains to be the same, or if you're of the opinion that that is a dysfunction that never existed in the first place. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, particularly Mr. Garber and Ms. Harris.
I think when young people are getting out of school, they're very idealistic. So I'm not sure that the disease that you allude to is most likely identifiable in the university setting, unless you've found otherwise. A lot of your teachers tell you to lie and cheat, give you A+, good cheater. I think I can only speak for myself. When I got out of college, I didn't go to Wall Street right away, and I was very disappointed with the ethical inferiority of everyone around me. And I couldn't believe that these people existed and that they couldn't hear themselves talk. How horrible. And that's because I was imbued with a profound PC-like informed lens for judging everyone around me. And I would be surprised that people coming out of the percolator of the university setting of just about any university are generally going to have the wrong influences that are going to increase the likelihood of misbehavior. I think when you put a very large amount of money in front of someone, it's possible that choices become blurred, and the camaraderie and fun and excitement of let's do this is fun, sort of obscures bigger picture thinking that is not always natural for all of us to have the luxury of. And sometimes hindsight is the only thing that can help inform you. But I also agree with Carla. I like hiring people with a humanities background.
I do think that if you have traits of being a bad apple anyway, that an environment, any kind of environment can bring that out of you because you might already have a tendency to go that way. So I am not of the opinion that either the institutions, the academic institutions, or the professional institutions create the monster or the bad apple. Something's in there already that gets enhanced. Now, I would agree with Ethan that, and I agree with Mr. Mueller here that temptation abounds every day for each of us. And if you're in an environment where you're tempted to do something, but you already have a propensity, then you can be led in the wrong lane. But at the end of the day, if that's not who you are, I don't think any of these institutions can create that. I don't care. Again, like Ethan, I'll speak for myself. I don't care how much money you put in front of me. I got to answer to him at the end of the day. That's really where the buck stops. So I'm not going to do anything that would impair my ability to say to St. Peter, let me in, let me in. Okay, so it's just not who I am. And an environment or dollars are not going to create that kind of behavior. So I think there's something that could be awry in the first place that, again, an environment might bring it out, but something's already there. So I could not blame that behavior on the institutions.
A university experiment where several thousand students over time were subjected to it, where they were given a rigged Monopoly game, and half of the people playing got the old boot as their identity, and they only had one die, and the other half got 2 dice, and they got the Rolls Royce, and they got to go around. They got to get out of jail free every time they got twice as many get out of jail frees. Their behavior, statistically, of course, this is biased, and you may all consider this propaganda. But the behavior seemed to be adjusted sociologically based on the role that they were told that they have. So if you enter Wall Street and you get a lot of money, your behavior may change, and you may continue to change your behavior. It's possible. Doesn't mean that everyone will. It means that you need to have a greater sense of responsibility and will, perhaps.
Stay tuned. John, I just want to add, stepping out of my moderator role, that my experience has been an awful lot depends on the leadership of the organization that you're a part of. I had this great opportunity at an earlier point in my career to work for an unnamed rating agency, which has subsequently had some problems, but at the time was run by a gentleman who was one of the smartest and most committed, ethically, morally, spiritually committed people I've ever known, and that permeated the organization. I think we need more people like that.
Discussion. I'm going to ask Jeff Smith to come up here to close things out, and as he's making his way up here to the podium, I just wanted to kind of extend my personal gratitude to Jeff and hopefully collectively as well, is that Jeff is the founder and president of the Catholic Finance Association. If not for this type of format, we don't have these conversations in this forum. I'm sure they've happened privately and they happen maybe in more church-specific related or activities, but this is the 9th event of the Catholic Finance Association. And from what I understand, over 750 attendees have come to events like this to hear discussions from incredible panelists such as these. And so I just wanted to personally and collectively extend my thanks to Jeff Smith for all his efforts in the Catholic Finance Association.
It's wonderful to see everybody here. Our Lord has said that where 2 or 3 gather in His name, there He is. But then, of course, Adam Smith said that when people of the same trade gather, the conversation ends in a conspiracy against the public. So I don't know what we have. I guess so. When 2 or 3 or 4 people of goodwill gather, leaders in finance, hopefully we come up with some better questions about how to behave ethically on Wall Street. It's great to see all of everyone here tonight, the members, and also a lot of new faces. As Sean had said earlier, for those who are new, the Catholic Finance Association looks to engage Wall Street issues today through the lens of Catholic social teaching. But more than just a think tank, we feel this part of the room is as important as that part of the room, and so we like to have opportunities for people to get together. And we've got some more opportunities for people to get together coming up soon. In September, we're going to have a cocktail reception with Dr. Sam Gregg, member of the Royal Economic Society, and he actually was one of our panelists a couple of panels back. And that'll be a cocktail reception on our new roof. We'd love to have you to that. In October, we're going to have a panel discussion, finance leaders talking about Wall Street intersecting with the human trafficking industry and what's going on there and what can be done about it. In November, we're going to have a panel discussion on the 2014 financial outlook, what things going to look like in the opinion of 3 or 4 Catholic fund managers, and what they think that things are going to look like, why, and how their faith forms that. Now, what makes these things possible actually is the memberships, and so memberships are $250 a year, and they allow members to come for free. And then there's member-only events. For instance, the Sam Gregg event is probably going to be a little tight on space, so it's probably going to be 95% members. And then there's going to be some other events. We might do a Catholic Shark Tank. That'll be a member-only kind of event, and it's tax deductible. Probably you got to get your tax advisor's opinion on that for sure. But what makes these things possible is membership. So if you would like to become a member tonight, we would love to have you. We've got 2 stations set up for people to sign you up tonight, on the left and on the right. And we've got credit card readers on the credit card, which I'm old enough to think that's amazing. And a couple of other things that we also, things that make things happen are our sponsors. For instance, Gary Gelman is here tonight. He's been providing photographic services. He runs Gelman Images, and be sure to say hello to him and thank you to him. We also have Proxy Mosaic. John Shea and Nathan Ibarra are here tonight. Proxy Mosaic provides shareholder voting advisory services, research, and recommendations on proxy voting that reflects your values. Also, longtime sponsor Slater and Tenaglia law firm, which is the largest law firm working with commercial debt collection. Also, they're leaders in payment services and in cybersecurity. And John Tenaglia is here. John and Joe over there. And also our volunteers, Good Counsel Homes in St. Malachy's. Good Counsel Homes taking care of women in crisis pregnancies, and St. Malachy's, which is in Times Square. In fact, if John Paul II is right that New York City is the capital of the world, which I think he is, a little biased, but if that's right, then I would say Times Square maybe is the public square of the world, and St. Malachy's is the parish in the public square of the world. So we're very thankful to St. Malachy's and to the good folks from Good Counsel Homes for running the thing tonight. And probably the most important announcement, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. And reminder to if you're interested in those school advisory boards, this is going to be a great thing. I think the skills of the financial services industry applied to those boards, and I don't know if we've mentioned yet, but Ms. Harris has been a leader in supporting the Catholic schools in New York City as well, and those are going to be a great way to get involved and give back and serve the church, and then the final announcement is that the bar is going to be reopening. So, and even when the bar closes here, there's going to be another bar open down the street. Final warm applause for our panelists, and God bless everybody and good night.